Welcome back to Terror by the Bay. I'm David. Well, I told you I was going to read on it. McCarthy is now endorsing an impeachment inquiry against Joe Biden. He's going to have James Comer and Jim Jordan, amongst other people, leading this inquiry. To date, there doesn't appear to be any hard evidence that they've presented indicating that Joe Biden has committed a crime, a high crime or a misdemeanor while in the office of the presidency. There's a lot of innuendo about the corrupt Biden crime family, yada, 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 but they really haven't produced any information. The IRS whistleblowers weren't whistleblowers because whistleblowers have to actually file paperwork for it, and then their allegations get investigated by the Inspector General, and that never happened. The Inspector General can then say if they felt a crime happened. So if you don't fill out that paperwork, you can come forward with your allegations to a very friendly Republican congressperson and committee and get your allegations heard. The other funny thing, of course, is that they're saying that the investigation into Hunter Biden was impeded in 2018. And who was the political party in charge at the time? Wasn't that the Trump DOJ? So how could, Merrick Garland and the Biden DOJ slow down an investigation during the Trump administration? This is such political hackery. It is astounding. And I guess Matt Gaetz was on the floor today basically saying that McCarthy has been upholding his contract that he gave to the House Freedom Caucus, a.k.a. the MAGA faction, at the beginning of the year, and they were going to vote for him to vacate the chair, the House chair. Which, if you haven't figured out by now, that's the only thing that matters to McCarthy, is being the head of the House. And apparently, and the other thing I'm hearing is that there's a memo that was approved in the Trump Department of Justice that basically said before you can start an inquiry, you have to have a full House vote. That was a rule that was not in place when during the two impeachments of Donald Trump. Or certainly not in the first impeachment, maybe the second one, but not in the first one. So the Republicans aren't even following the rules that their own DOJ set up. So much for being the party of law and order and all the other BS that they sell. Okay, entertainment purposes only. Let's read into this. McCarthy, what's going on? Actually, what's going on with the Biden impeachment? We'll start with the Biden impeachment here. What's going on with the Biden impeachment inquiry here? And then we'll throw on McCarthy. Is he just really running scared of the Freedom Caucus? Okay, so it's going to be a long, slow inquiry because they want this, the GOP wants this to stay in the news cycle for as long as possible, like until the 2024 election, as long as possible. They're going to try and stretch this thing out for 18 months. It's going to be a slow investigation as they try to find evidence of wrongdoing. And the temperance card is about detoxification. There's just no there with this. But it's all about the backroom dealings. I mean, the GOP has already been on record with Nancy Pelosi, with Hillary Clinton, with Benghazi. Just announced that you're doing the investigation and watch the poll numbers drop. It's just the same old playbook yet again. Backroom dealings, trying to undo Biden's campaign. And it's, again, with election interference. This has everything to do with people who are involved with the 2020 election interference with Donald Trump. So keep your Comers and your Jim Jordans nice front and center there, and other people that, Marjorie Taylor Greene's been pushing for this, Lauren Boebert, a bunch of just crazy people. In the past is the Tower. This is, the 2020 election, the Republicans falling out of power, and they're desperately trying to get it back because there's a lot of culpability with members of the Republican Party due to their participation in the election interference and the insurrection. So they are trying desperately to undermine any investigation into the government, and this is just another distraction that they're putting out there. Okay, current situation, and the reason this backs it up, Jack Smith is getting to the core people in his investigations. Again, he's starting with Trump, but he's got another wave of indictments with the co-conspirators, and other people who were involved in this election interference are going to be under his net. And right now they are doing whatever they can to undermine the Department of Justice and the Biden administration. By some miracle, they're hoping to make it to 2024, have the presidency, and just kill these investigations and call off the Department of Justice. It's all about controlling the government. This impeachment is a last-ditch effort for all the marbles in 2024 and to avoid prosecution. And they are, I just on the other reading, I think it was that yesterday, today, and tomorrow with regards to 9/11, I believe is where I was talking about that. How the political temperatures come down in the United States. They're trying to amp it back up. They're doing everything in their power to ramp up political anxiety in this country. And they're going to do it in the House. The House Freedom Caucus is just going to do everything they can to undermine the Biden administration, undermine the DOJ. Because again, they're guilty of sedition, although those are not the charges that will be brought up against them for entertainment purposes only. The outcome is the Four of Cups. They're trying to sell this to the American people, and the American people aren't buying it. And by the American people, I don't mean the Democrats, and I don't mean the MAGA Republicans. This is the independent voter. This is your suburban mom and stuff like that. These are people that aren't fanatical Donald Trump worshipers. They're folks that, they don't understand all this political argy-bargy, as it were. And this message is going to come across about the Biden crime family, but there's no evidence there. And they're waiting for that evidence. And the Republicans are just not going to be able to produce it because there's no there. And this is not going to convince the American people that Biden is corrupt. This is not going to convince them not to vote for Biden. And if the Democrats can somehow negotiate this minefield, as it were, and point out that basically all the Republicans have done is put together legislation for outrage, try and impeach Biden, but didn't actually do anything to fight inflation or make people's lives better or anything along those lines, that's kind of their ticket to 2024, beyond having Trump run and beyond women's rights being taken away from them, beyond the persecution of the LGBTQ community, the brown community, the black community, and everything else that these wretched people have been up to for the last, 7 years now. What's going on with Jim Jordan? Why is Jordan doing this? Because, Marjorie Taylor Greene and Lauren Boebert started this whole process with wanting to impeach Biden and then having their cat fight on the floor. And now the Freedom Caucus is, hey, if you don't do what we tell you to, we're going to take action against you. Because, hey, you want to stay the speaker, you got to do what we say. Basically is what's going on here. And so he is now being very reactive to the whims of the MAGA faction. MAGA wants him to do it. You want to stay in power, you do what we tell you to do. In the past, okay, so this is McCarthy finally getting in as Speaker of the House. The The Republicans eked out their 5-person majority in the House. McCarthy, after 15 votes, got in, and now he's in as the Speaker, and he's been nothing but a major disappointment to the MAGA crowd ever since. Current situation. Of course Trump is going to show up, right? Because Trump is the MAGA faction is the mouthpiece of Trump in Congress. So Trump has been wanting Joe Biden impeached because, well, Trump got impeached twice, so, and Biden should be impeached as well, because screw Biden. It doesn't matter if he hasn't done anything wrong. It just matters. It's all about revenge with Trump. And so Trump is forcing this through. And McCarthy is just a spineless jellyfish and will not stand up to the MAGA faction or to Trump. Overarching energy is the lovers. And I guess pull the lesson to be learned. Lesson to be learned is the 8 of Swords. When you are married to Trump, you are being held hostage by Trump and the MAGA faction. Plain and simple. And the funny thing is, McCarthy could actually undo this and free himself from the hostage situation he's in with the MAGA crowd. You know how you do that? You go across the aisle and you work with the Democrats. And then you neuter the MAGA faction. But he is trying to, be all Republican all the time. He doesn't want the Democrats' help because, heaven forbid he actually have to compromise with them. So he's a victim of his own making. He has the ability to do a bipartisan budget, and he's not going to do it. So he's just going to be held hostage by the MAGA faction. The outcome is just disappointment. This impeachment, it's not going to go anywhere. And honestly, I don't think he wants to do it because he knows... McCarthy knows it's not going anywhere. He doesn't... If he wanted to impeach Biden, he could have brought it to the floor, had a full vote, and then moved it to the inquiry. So why didn't he do that? You don't bring anything to the floor unless you know you have the votes to get it passed. So does that mean he didn't have the votes to get it passed? Most likely, that's exactly what that means. So your MAGA faction is demanding this. Rather than have a vote and say, the rest of the Republicans didn't support it, you just ram it through to the inquiry stage. Thus, taking the, 30 people that are in the Freedom Caucus and making them all happy and then screwing over the other 170, 180 Republicans who aren't in the MAGA faction. But once it's an inquiry, then what? You're not going to find any evidence. Or it's highly unlikely you're going to find any evidence. And if you do have evidence, is it enough to get him impeached in the House? And if it's enough to get him impeached in the House, is he really going to get impeached in the Senate? You better find some incredible bomb in there if you want Democrats to vote Biden out of office. And I would assure you the Democrats would vote Biden out of office if he had done something horrific and worthy of being voted out. Because for whatever reason, the Democrats seem to have morals and ethics and will live by them, whereas the Republicans just want power. Which is why Donald Trump never got removed from office. Certainly that second time he should have been. So McCarthy doesn't think this is... Basically, McCarthy knows this is going nowhere. It's just, where does it stop? Does it stop in the inquiry stage? Does it stop at the vote in the House? Or does it stop with a vote with the Senate? Regardless, it's going nowhere. I want to get a quick read on Biden on this one. I find it wildly entertaining that McCarthy is talking about the millions of dollars that the Biden family would have gotten from China and all these business deals. What about the billions with a B that Jared Kushner got from the Saudis? Is the whole reason of the impeachment that, Biden is too cheap? He should be charging 1,000-fold more than what he's asking? Is that what the problem is? He's an American president on the cheap, and he's undervaluing his influence? Is that what's going on here? Idiot. Okay, what's going on with Biden? Oh. Chained to the devil. Part of this is it's the toxic politics and his love for his son that's causing this. He knows that he's not going to abandon his son in this process, and if he suffers political consequences for it, well, he's willing to suffer that because he's been a senator for so long, because he was a vice president, because he's a president, and he believes in the norms. He's unwilling to decouple himself from this, roll up his sleeves, and go after him. He's just being too nice. That's my thought on it. So he's just going to sit here and take it. Election interference. Here they come with the election interference. I think Biden understands he's done nothing wrong. The sword of justice is on his side. But the problem is the Republicans don't care. They're not about truth. They're about power and ruling. And they're trying to undermine the Biden's campaign with false allegations. Hunter Biden's this young guy who got all this money. And that's not fair. But there's no there. There's still no evidence there. Biden will, in the end of the day, overcome this. And he knows that. But they keep harping on his son. And it's exhausting to him because he can't really defend his son in this case because it'll give an illustration of bias. Underneath it, though, is the star card. Biden still has hope. He has hope that the American people will see through this. He has hope that the Justice Department will see through this. He has hope that Congress will come to their senses and see through this. But it's mostly, he has hope the American people will see through this charade and that he'll come out on the other side of it. It's really getting annoying. I did a reading on Biden and if the GOP were going to impeach him. I don't even remember what I said in that reading. I'll have to go back and look. Okay, so will this impeachment inquiry impact the 2024 presidential election? I'm really getting tired of these interesting times. I'm just saying. I'm getting really tired of it. This was a long day at work, and the last thing I needed to do was have McCarthy throw some bullcrap out on the news. Now, the minute I saw it, my blood pressure shot up several dozen points, and I post up on the community page I do a reading tonight, so I'm fulfilling on my promise that I'm going to do a reading on this tonight. But man, it would have been nice to have an easier night of readings on this one as opposed to getting my Irish up, as it were. Okay, will this have an impact on the 2024 election? I'm too tired to even be snarky. Well, I don't want to be snarky because this is serious. It's all the backroom dealing. Will it have an impact on the 2024 election? That's the intent. That is the background intent with the GOP. They absolutely wanted to have an impact on it. Do you want to do let's go ahead and do a full reading on it. The false friends. Yeah, the GOP is going to just keep going forward with this message about the corrupt Biden family, and they think that's going to be enough to put them over the top. But it's not going to work. In some ways, this investigation seals their fate. Because, was it Liz Cheney? I think it was Liz Cheney that said, we need serious politicians. That was a fairly recent comment about needing serious politicians. And all the BS that we're seeing with this is showing that the GOP are not serious. And it's going to be their undoing. This is not the end of the Biden campaign. This is the end of the GOP, because they're going to lose the suburban mom vote. They're going to lose the independent vote. And if the independents and the suburban moms and such don't trust the GOP to do what's right, they might just vote Democrat. Hopefully this does give us the final push that we need to control all three branches of government. In the past, the Ace of Cups, the GOP again, playing on people's emotions, playing on outrage, trying to get people outraged on the Bidens. And for the most part, they don't give a flying crap about Hunter Biden. So now they're trying to impeach Joe Biden on top of it. Current situation with that, how it's going to, is the star card. I think, again, Biden has faith that the American people are going to see through this. And I think they are, because in the end, there's no star witness. There's no there. And they can't, the GOP can't put up anything compelling to get the American people to believe them. Over it all is the Ace of Wands, trying to force that square peg in a round hole. It's going to be really obvious that this was a political ploy and that the GOP are not being honest with folks. And that might cause people to pull the voting lever in the wrong direction. The lesson to be learned is you can only lie to people for so long. You can only build up, the big Biden impeachment crime family stuff and continue to not come out with evidence. People will get tired of it. I mean, the people that want to believe you will still believe you. We're not worried about them. We're worried about the independent voters. And it's going to come out. This could be, I sometimes have this as my Department of Justice, but I think what this is the American voter coming out and making a mature decision on their action. They don't want this immaturity. They don't want this childish. They don't want secrets. They don't want emotions. They don't want liars. They just want to have a normal government for a change. They're tired of the drama. So, will they vote? Will this end Biden's campaign? Will he not be elected? No, he's going to get reelected. This will not do what the Republicans want. If anything, what I see, it's going to backfire on them and cause them to actually lose power and influence, and probably cost them lose a few more seats in the House and maybe another senatorial seat or something along those lines. We can only knock on wood, pray, hope for the best, manifest, whatever. I hope this works out. But I'm getting real tired of these foolish games that they're playing, and I know you are too. Anyways, thank you for watching this video. Thank you for supporting my channel. I really appreciate it. Thank you for your likes, comments, and shares, so that that feeds the YouTube algorithm beast, so that my video makes it out to new viewers. And to any of the new viewers that are catching my shows for the first time, welcome to the channel. Hope you found this reading informative, mildly entertaining, and I hope you'll subscribe and catch future videos coming up. I'll catch you on the next video. Take care.